Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. I'm so excited about this week's topic. But before I get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and don't forget to click on the notification bell. That will inform you each week when I do upload a new video. But let's get right into this week's video. I wanted to tackle a topic that has been on my list for a while. It's been super highly requested, like everywhere on YouTube, social media, and so I definitely wanted to make this video. And we are going to dive into narcissistic parents this week. So I think for the most part, the relationship between a parent and a child, when you're dealing with a narcissist, it's going to look similar to either a friendship or a romantic partner in the sense that there's going to be manipulation, there's going to be gaslighting, there's going to be projecting, there's definitely going to be verbal abuse, emotional abuse, there's going to be the silent treatment, passive aggressive. There's just all those techniques that I've talked about in a lot of my other videos. They're definitely going to happen here with this relationship between child and parent. There's just a few things that are going to be really different with this relationship since you're dealing with a child and a parent. So for a narcissistic parent, that child, the child that they brought into the world, that child is an extension of themselves. So there's a certain level of expectation that that narcissist has on that child. And when that parent doesn't feel that that child is where they want them to be, this is definitely where a lot of abuse can actually happen. So we definitely hear the term golden child happen often in these types of situations when there's more than one child in the family, where one child is really just singled out and is given a more love and admiration and support, so to speak, by that narcissistic parent than some of the other children. That child's basically giving that narcissistic parent a lot of narcissistic supply. So they're reflecting back what that narcissist wants to see. So either they're a child that has had a lot of accomplishments, whether that's in school or in sports, or they've just done things where they've done certain things that the narcissist deems acceptable within society. So you could have a child that is an amazing artist and is so creative, so talented, but the narcissist doesn't value that. They value achievements in school. They value money. They value appearance. They value success. They value, how athletic my son is, or how, pretty my daughter is, and whether or not she was homecoming queen or whatever that looks like. So that could be what the narcissist is so hyper focused on, and not unconditional love. So when we have children, we honor all of our children for the gifts that they were born into this world having. So we love each child the same way, even though they're all very different. So one child, while they might be successful by society standards and they're not making $1 million a year, they're very happy and they're content and they're a beautiful artist, or they're a great writer, or whatever job that they do in life, they're happy and content with their life. And that's what we want. And that's what we love, and we honor those gifts that that child has just the same as we would another child that might get straight A's in school. So we're going to really root for both children, even though one might struggle academically and the other one, it comes very easily. So we treat all of our children fairly, so to speak, and we love them all unconditionally. And we want them all to be happy in life. Any good parent, that's the first thing that you're going to hear out of their mouth is, I want you to be happy in life no matter what that looks like, and I will support you in whatever it is that you want to do. So we don't support our children based off of what they give us and what we deem as acceptable. So the first thing is appearances, and this is really important for a narcissist. So regardless, again, if you have children or if you're in a romantic relationship with a narcissist, appearances are so important for them, because that's where they really get that supply from. So they need to look a certain way. This doesn't mean that all narcissists need to be wealthy and have the best of the best, no, but they're very hyper focused on what they look like and how they're viewed to other people. So that's number one. So a narcissistic parent is going to make sure that their child looks a certain way, that their hair is combed nicely, that, they can't just be themselves and they have to be, acting a certain way and look a certain way for them, because that gives them a high. That makes them feel better about themselves. That makes them feel like, look, we're perfect and we have our stuff together and we're a good family and everything's fine. We have no drama, because we want everyone around us to view our family as a good family, or the best family that has, you know, the best clothing and the best whatever. So it's all about appearances in terms of filling themselves up inside, because they never learned how to do it themselves. And the child is just an extension of that. So the next thing is, children of narcissistic parents don't have a voice. And what I mean by that is they're not asked, how do you feel? How was your day? How did that make you feel? What would you like for dinner tonight? Would you like peas or carrots? You know, there's no, narcissistic parents aren't able to do that, to really keep that child honed in to their sense of self. So if you're a child of a narcissistic parent, you weren't asked, how was your day? And if you were asked, really what you felt inside is that you needed to just give a generic answer. Because when you tried to go deep and say, you know what, this is what I was going through, this is how I felt, your emotions were either, you were either made to feel like what you were feeling was ridiculous and irrelevant, or you were told to kind of suck it up and be a big boy or be a man, or, you know, you're being too sensitive and you don't need to feel that way. So you were shut down when you were being human and when you were just feeling. And the reason why is because of that lack of empathy. So because a narcissist has absolutely no capability to be empathetic towards you, for a child, that's devastating. Every child needs validation. Every child needs a lot of empathy, and regardless of whether or not you agree with a child. So a lot of the key things that children need to grow up to be healthy, you are right off the bat not going to get from a narcissist. And this is where a lot of the times that child can conform to start having narcissistic traits as well, you know, really killing off that sense of self and conforming to just the ways that they're programmed to view the world, and how they're, you know, teaching, how this narcissistic parent is teaching them how to deal with life. Or you could actually go the complete opposite and just become codependent, which is basically just suppressing everything that we're feeling and trying to just please dad or please mom, trying so hard to get straight A's, trying so hard to, you know, make the basketball team and be the star athlete, or, you know, go to the best school, or whatever it is that you felt that your father or mother wanted you to do. You just crave that attention inside. You crave that validation. You crave that unconditional love that you weren't getting. And so that becomes your wound of you seeking that validation and trying to people please in order to get that filled up inside within you. So when you're not asked those important questions of how did that make you feel, and you have every right to feel that way, and what do you want for dinner, and you're not, as a child, you weren't asked those things so you could stay connected to your sense of self, that's when we lose our sense of self. We stop trusting our intuition. That's when when we become adults, that's when we attract abusive people because we had an abusive parent. That's when we start to become codependent. That's when we start to become a people pleaser. So this is all really where it stems from. The next thing is, and this is just a given, narcissistic parents neglect their kids. So neglect and abuse, it can look like two different things. Neglect can be, I'm not feeding my kids, I'm not bathing my kids, or it can also be, I'm overindulging my kids, I'm enabling my kids, I'm not teaching them right from wrong. So either you got not enough attention or too much attention, where you were put on this pedestal that is not healthy for a child throughout their whole life to be on this pedestal. Or we could be neglecting our child so much that they're just seeking that validation. And again, that's where that codependency comes from and that people pleasing comes from. So it's a balance for parents to honor and love and praise our children, but also teach them right from wrong, and that sometimes they make mistakes, and how to apologize, and how to own, you know, when they do something wrong, and that there's nothing wrong with them if they made a mistake, and really nurturing all of that so they can grow up to be a healthy adult. So if mom or dad was just so self-indulgent and so self-centered and selfish, quite frankly, and never put that child's needs before themselves, That's neglect right there. And again, that child's gonna always crave the attention that they didn't get from that parent. Because basically what it means is, as a child, your emotional needs were not met. The other thing with narcissistic parents is that they're never wrong. So just like any other narcissist you're dealing with, whether it's a family member, friendship, romantic relationship, there's no accountability, there's no responsibility for their actions and what they did and what they said or anything like that. They can't take accountability for those things, because then you're reflecting back at them what they don't want to see, which is their true self, which is that they did something wrong, and they don't want to see that. They just want to look at themselves as a perfect human being, have my perfect outfit on, have my white picket fence, and we don't have any drama in the family, and there's never any issues in our family. We're not the family that's got trouble and issues, even though they're probably the family that has the most. So what that does for a child, when they are not able to see their parent own their mistakes, take responsibility for their actions, and apologize, and learn how to do those things, whether it's between the child and the parent or between the two parents themselves, the child picks up on that. The child then learns how to not say I'm sorry, how to not take responsibility, how to not accept the fact that, okay, I was wrong, and that's okay. That doesn't make me a bad human being. And just because I was wrong, or just because I did something wrong, that doesn't mean I still don't deserve love. It means I made a mistake and I'm gonna learn from it. So a narcissist is not able to teach those lessons to a child. And then the child is always made to feel like they're the problem, that they're the issue, that they always do something wrong. The other thing that often happens, and a lot of adults who are raised in narcissistic homes, whether it was both parents or just one, will tell you this, that they felt like at times they had to parent themselves. And whether the parent just neglected the child and neglected them in a way that they weren't able to give them a lot of things emotionally, but that they just felt like it was their job to take care of the parent, because the parent was so self-indulged, so self-involved in what was going on with them, that they didn't have time for the child, and the child just tends to grow up, again, codependency 101, people-pleasing 101, feeling the need to take care of the parent because there was always something going on with the parent, or that the parent needed something, or it was always what the parent wanted to do, and it was always about the parent, never really about the child. And again, this is a balancing act, because as healthy parents, we know that every day can't be about the child, right? That we have to find balance between overindulging and loving ourselves as well. And when you're dealing with a narcissistic parent, it's either one or the other. Either it's just, neglect and just not taking what that child wants into consideration whatsoever, what that child needs physically, emotionally, whatever, or overindulging and giving the child too much every single day, putting them on a pedestal that's unhealthy for them developmentally. So either is a dangerous place to be for a child. So again, not only are narcissistic parents doing these types of tactics, but again, like I've talked about in a lot of my other videos, there is definitely gaslighting, insulting, verbal abuse, every tactic of emotional abuse that you can think of, very, very manipulative in order for that parent to get what they want, definitely using guilt on the child. I mean, all of those things 100% happens in these types of situations, in these relationships. I really wanted to hone on the things that you don't typically see when you're dealing with a romantic partner or when you're dealing with a friendship. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next week.